but you're still in debt. Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Finding the right real estate professional can be challenging. I'm broker Melissa Wilson. I'm knowledgeable in all aspects of the real estate process. So whether you're looking to buy new or an existing home or have a commercial need, I'm here to help.
Let's stop acting like we don't see how this game is played. If you tired of folks throwing shade with a smile and keeping you boxed in with that slick behind-the-scenes racism, it's time to upgrade your survival skills. See, Phillip Scott dropped more than just knowledge. He handed you a playbook with passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy. This ain't the in-your-face kind. This is that sneaky, office space, let me block your blessings type of racism that'll have you questioning your own reality. It's time to call it what it is and arm yourself with the facts. But baby, don't stop at just peeping the system. Break those mental chains too. That's why you need 7 steps to decolonize the mind. This is about freeing yourself up top, walking in confidence, and letting the world know your mind is not for rent, lease, or layaway. It's time to reclaim your power step by step. So don't just watch, take action. Click over to Amazon.com, type in passive-aggressive racism in the system of white supremacy and 7 steps to decolonize the mind, and secure both books for yourself, your crew, and anybody ready for that mental liberation. La Sherika said it, now go do it. Invest in your freedom. Pick up both books today on Amazon.com. Trust me, your mind will thank you.
If you have not been tuning in before, my goodness, you've missed out on a lot. Broke boy, but with potential. What made you realize, this soft life is for me?
I deserve it. Because main money is special. I'm single.
But you don't like to be alone now.
I'm looking for a guy to break my heart. Well, as long as they're Nigerians now.
Watch Slay Queen Nigeria, only on the African Diaspora News Channel app.
From November 14th to 21st, we're inviting you to join us for a powerful trip to Ghana. This isn't just a vacation. This is a chance to walk through the same places where many of our people were captured, held, and shipped off into slavery. So don't wait. Secure your spot today. We're making history by walking through it. Will you be with us?
In H-Town, we want news that speaks truth, just like we do.
ADNC keeps me informed and him inspired.
We've been through too much to trust mainstream media. This feels like us.
From the D to the diaspora, ADNC is how I stay woke. We binge ADNC like it's Netflix, but smarter.
They speak on us, but never for us. ADNC does.
No fluff, no filters, just the truth, daily.
From Wall Street to 125th, we're watching our news.
Download the African Diaspora News Channel app today to stay connected to the culture.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, thank you for joining us on the stream. And I know y'all should be able to hear me because I'm looking at my levels this time, right? Yesterday, I forgot to hit one button and I had everybody calling me, Kellen calling me, Neo hitting me up. Hey, you ain't hear no sound, but that's good. I appreciate that because sometimes it happens. It happens. All right, so it's the 21st of the month. And yeah, another month is almost gone, y'all. Where's the time going? We about to get in September. You know, we hit September of the year, it's going to slide on down. I'm ready for y'all. Look, I'm ready for fall. I'm ready for the weather to cool down. I hate the heat. I'm like that lady about hate. You know, she says she hate foreigners. I hate the heat. You know, I don't know if there's a term for the heat. I know xenophobia, you know, that talks about how you don't like, you know, foreigners, but whatever term it is, I hate the heat. I hate it with a passion. I guess why I hate the heat, because I had to work in it for about 22 years. So now, if it's any kind of heat, I don't want to be in it. I tell people, I like the sun. Don't get me wrong, I like the sun, but the temperature I like, let me tell you my perfect weather. In the morning, it's about like 51, 52 in the morning. And then during the day, it get up to about 70, about 75. Clear skies, just like that. Beautiful day. That's my perfect weather combination right there. I don't want it no colder than under 50. I don't want it no hotter than 75 degrees. And no humidity, too. No humidity. That's like my perfect weather, y'all. Perfect. When you start getting to 80 and 90 and 100, man, that's too hot. No. You get under 50, it start getting too cold. That's like my perfect safe zone. I don't know, maybe there is a place on planet Earth where it stay like that year round. Man, that'd be my spot. That'd be my spot. But these light bills down here, y'all, oh my God. I don't even look forward to summer because my freaking light bill, man. But tonight, we're gonna talk about the Republicans here in Texas. I know you heard about the situation about Trump, and Trump said he needed 5 seats. So he hollered at Greg Abbott down here in Texas. Hey, give me 5 seats. I need some seats. So they say, okay, Trump, we're going to get you 5 seats. And it's a practice called gerrymandering. We're going to get into the history of gerrymandering tonight and why that is one of the most anti-black racist things that's still being practiced in 2025. You know, we talk about reparations and the harms are done for us. They're still using things from way back when to still harm today, but yet these people say they don't owe no reparations. Oh, we should just get over it. How can you get over it and you're using things that you did on my ancestors? My ancestors were gerrymandered, and we're being gerrymandered in 2025. This is why I say that certain destruction is in the decline must happen, because y'all don't know how to be decent human beings. That's why. If you can't be on top, you got to be evil and treat everybody else not like they're human. But we'll get into that tonight. Ladies and gentlemen. A few things. And y'all share with me here in the chat. So we're in the planning stages, 2026, of doing, taking the show on the road, right? We want to connect with the people. Now, I know we talked about doing something in Toronto. We've never been there, but we'll do something because due to what happened with the situation going to Toronto, so we're going to do our own event, right? That way it's all us like we did here in Houston, but we're going to do something even better. Then today, we'll start discussing Johannesburg today, right? Here in the U.S., I have to do something in New York, though. I have to do something in New York, and I'm going to tell you why. New York is the city that gives us the most support. Every month that we look at the demographics with the cities, New York City is always at the top. You know who's also still at the top too? Chicago. Chicago's at the top too. So we have to look at, certain cities. I know we did an event one time, years ago in Atlanta. Atlanta, man, showed us a lot of love down there in Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? So what cities, like I say, we want to focus probably more so on that Central to Eastern time zone. To be honest with you, that's where the majority of our viewers are at. Not to say we don't have viewers in California, because we do, but we just kind of see that maybe, we should focus there in the United States. But some people say, well, man, you should come out this way too, and like I say, what the demographics are, I don't know what the request is. I've definitely been to LA, several times, and connecting with black people in LA is beautiful. It really is. I know y'all still trying to hold down the fort out there because, man, y'all so outnumbered in LA. Jesus Christ, y'all so outnumbered. Now, in Oakland, there are black people up there in the Bay. That's where we at. A lot of us are in the Bay. Shout out to the Bay. But, throw out some cities for us. Let us know. And we got to see what the demand is and what the need. We've never been to Detroit before. I thought about Detroit, because, there's a lot of things I've been thinking about. So, yeah, just kind of throw some cities at us and let's see. I wouldn't mind doing something in Nairobi, Kenya as well. I don't know what our viewership is in Jamaica. I wouldn't mind doing something in Jamaica. So, yeah, just let us know. Just let us know. Let us know. I'm definitely open to suggestions. Because to be honest with you, every time I've done something and I've just took y'all suggestions, it worked out very well. And then times we may not take your suggestions, it didn't work out. So I'm a firm believer of following what y'all say. Also, September 1st, we have our new book. Now, I'm just going to show y'all you probably not going to be able to see it too well, the cover of it. This is not the size of the actual book that I'm about to show you. I mean, it's standard book size. But this is our new book here called Us Versus the Machine. How anti-black racism was programmed, marketed, and made to survive. So this will be released September 1. I know if you want the ebook, you can pre-order it right now if you want the ebook, but the hardback and the paperback will be released on September 1. This book is definitely a lot longer than the previous books. That's for sure. So I think is it 200 some more pages? I'm thinking. I'm trying to remember how many pages it is. But September 1, our new book will be dropping, ladies and gentlemen. You say now. Let me tell you something else about you mentioned Virginia or even DC. Man, I got a lot. Man, last time I went to DC when I was over there at Rock Newman, man, I was just out there on the street and people say, Phil, what you doing out here? And I'm like, oh man, I'm just here and man, I just talking to the community out there, man. For me, it always throws me off when people just call my name like that and then they just like genuinely happy to talk to me. It always throws me off. I've never been one to be into this, I'm known, I'm this, and I'm recognized. I feel no different than any of you in that chat. I'm just a regular person. And if somebody see me, hey, I just appreciate, I appreciate it. And everybody's been so nice. I've never had a person been mean or anything. Everybody's been nice. No matter who I met, everybody. I've met, Latinos that watch our platform. I think the last time a Latino hollered at me was when I was at Disney in California. Latino, he was like, he turned around, he say, you Phillip, right? And I looked at him, I was like, yeah, what's going on? He said, man, I watch you all the time. I said, really? We talk about it here. I was kind of shocked that he watched, but hey, he said he loved the show. So I said, okay. I said, well, I appreciate you, man, appreciate you, and yeah, God bless your family. He's with his family and all that. So, shout out to the Latinos that do watch. Shout out to them. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and get into what we need to get into, and all of that. Let me check what y'all are talking about before I do that. Yeah. People are usually pretty nice. That's really what it is. People are pretty nice. All right. So let's get into this. Let's get into just the discussion before we get into the Texas Republicans. Let's talk about a little bit. I had this on my phone. I want to make sure I get this to y'all. Hold on. All right. Now, you hear the term gerrymandering, right? Gerrymandering. And they mention that a lot, right? So what is gerrymandering? What is that? What is that? Why they still do that to this day? So, gerrymandering comes from 1812. Now, 1812, what were black people doing in 1812, ladies and gentlemen? What were black people doing in this country at 1812? What were we doing? Y'all know I like participation. If people don't want to participate, I can just go do something else. I always tell people that I can go do something else with my time. So what were black people doing in the year 1812 in the United States of America, ladies and gentlemen? I will wait. And clearly YouTube haven't sent out my notifications because I can see how many viewers we have, and that doesn't even make sense at all. That's right. We were picking cotton and being oppressed. We were slaves. That's right. We were picking cotton in 1812. All right. So when you hear the term gerrymandering, understand these white people in America is still continuing a practice from the slave era. All right. So it comes from 1812 when Massachusetts Governor Elbridge Gerry approved a voting district shaped like a salamander to favor his party. It says, since then, politicians in both parties have drawn district maps to keep power by concentrating or splitting up voters. Okay. Now, why it's racist? They say after the Civil War and Reconstruction, gerrymandering was used in the South to dilute black political power. I'm going to repeat that again. After the Civil War and Reconstruction was only 10 years, gerrymandering was used in the South to dilute black political power, either by cracking, splitting black communities into many districts so they can't form a majority, right? Which Texas Republicans are doing. Let's say, or packing, forcing them into one district so their influence is limited to just that seat, which they're still doing to this day. Okay? So cracking is basically splitting us up so we don't have no power, no majority. And packing is putting us all into one district so we have one seat. So we don't have multiple seats. Now, it ensures black voters often have less representation than their population numbers deserve. And we will get to population here in a minute. Which continues today in 2025 through redistricting fights, especially in states with large black populations, like Texas. Now, gerrymandering started as a partisan tool, but in America's racial context, it became a weapon to weaken FBA political influence, making it deeply a racist practice tied to voter suppression. So gerrymandering is tied to voter suppression. It's tied to diluting black political power. Now, why do you want to have black political power? Everything that we do is linked to our politics. We don't have, you say, why is it have so many white people in Congress and the Senate? It's because of gerrymandering. It's not because of they just so much of the population. They are steadily declining. And yet you still see all this overwhelming white representation. How? It's because of gerrymandering. They make sure that black people cannot have an equal representation of our community all over the place. This is what they do. These people are they cheat, they lie, and they steal. That's how they've been from day one, and that's how they are in 2025. It's just what Jesus said, and who did Jesus describe as the one that would not only lie, cheat, and steal, but kill, steal, and destroy? Who did he describe the one that will constantly kill, steal, and destroy? Class, come on now. What entity did Jesus describe that about? I will wait. And if you're black, I know you didn't read the Bible now. I know you done been to some missionary Baptist church, Methodist church, Church of God in Christ, the AME, African Methodist, all the different ones now. What? All right, there you go, sister. The devil, Satan. That's how he described kill, steal, and destroy. And when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has said that these people are the devil, that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was talking about. He wasn't saying that, oh, it's based on some color. No, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said this because he was talking about the actions of what they do is like the devil himself. Killing, stealing, destroying. That's what Jesus said the devil has come to do. And anyone that kills, steal, and destroy, you're walking in the spirit of Satan. It don't matter if it's even in our own community. Don't matter. We got plenty of people that walk in the spirit of Satan in our own community, killing, stealing, destroying. Has nothing to do with nobody, color, gender, nothing. Because the Bible don't speak on nothing about no color, gender, or race. Race is an idiotic concept they came up with. Because they have nothing else to differentiate themselves with, so they had to create that system. So, they continue the gerrymandering to this day, because you have to remember, when they tell you about merit, they tell you about all these different things, they tell you that. They don't believe in merit. They don't believe in fairness. They don't believe in equality. They don't believe in that. They tell you to believe in fairness, you to believe in merit, you to believe in equality. But when the rubber meets the road, they will cheat and steal and scam. That's what they do. That's what they've been doing from day one, and they're not going to change. Them people in 1812 is the same people in 2025. I told you that in this book, I cover that culture. I'm all going through that culture in this book. That is a culture. That's how these people can still do gerrymandering from 1812 to 2025. It is their culture to do that. Has nothing to do with nobody, no color. It's a culture. Now, if you look at the population of Texas, just so you know, I want to give you these numbers here. Hispanics represent 39.8% of the Texas population, Hispanics. After that, the folks, 39.6%. And then you come to us as black people, they're giving us 12.3 to 12.7% of the population. Then after that is Asians at 5.3%. Then they got like two or more races. They say 19.2%. They say other races, 8.6%. And then they got Native Americans, 0.6%. So Hispanics kind of passed them just a little bit, but we're sitting at about 12% or so of the population. Now, the reason why I'm bringing all this stuff up tonight is because, in Texas, they talking about the gerrymandering, right? They're talking about how, they want that 5 extra seats. Well, they had a Democrat that's come out, and he was talking about exactly what that would do to black people's representation in Texas. And it's something that I think you should hear, and that's why we want to talk about that tonight. So let's go ahead on and cue this video up real quick and let y'all hear what the gentleman has to say.
Under this map, white Texans receive 1 member of Congress for every 445,000 residents. If you're Hispanic, it takes about 1.4 million residents for that same representation. If you are black, it takes 2 million. In this proposal, a Hispanic Texan has 1/3 the political value of a white Texan under this plan, and a black Texan 1/5. It would take 3 Hispanics to equal the representation of 1 white Texan and 5 black Texans to equal the value of 1 white Texan.
Now, did you hear what that gentleman had to say? If you didn't hear it, I'll play it one more time, just so you heard exactly what he said.
Under this map, white Texans receive 1 member of Congress for every 445,000 residents. If you're Hispanic, it takes about 1.4 million residents for that same representation. If you are black, it takes 2 million. In this proposal, a Hispanic Texan has 1/3 the political value of a white Texan under this plan, and a black Texan 1/5. It would take 3 Hispanics to equal the representation of 1 white Texan and 5 black Texans to equal the value of 1 white Texan.
Okay, so now you're hearing what I meant by 1/5. Now, reducing black people down to that kind of representation in the state just to appease Trump, what could be the blowback of that with black people in Texas? And I saw your sister talking about, about how many black people are in Texas. Well, we're sitting about 4.2 million. 4.2 million black Americans are in this state. That's a good amount of us here, right? And a lot of us, like I said, we are in, certain states, certain cities, like, your Dallas, Metroplex area, going on down, let's say to Houston. Then you go eastbound, kind of like where I'm from, like the Port Arthur, Beaumont, Orange, all of that east area, going closer to Louisiana. Once you get outside of Houston and you go like about Corpus Christi on down, yeah, that's all Mexico. we not down there like that. If you see some of us down there in the valley, whatever, we probably got a Mexican woman or you with a Mexican man if you're living down there for the most part. I've never really seen a bunch of black families, a black man and black woman down in those areas, but most of us are most on these areas, right? But what could be the blowback of this? What could be the blowback? Well, I've told y'all before, I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. I'm independent. What does that mean? That means every election I can do one of three things. If none of them are good for me, I want to sit it out, I can do that. If a Democrat has something that I think it would be good for me, I'll vote for the Democrat. If I think the Republican has something that's good, I'll vote for Republican. So I'm not bound to any political party. But what they done here in Texas, it could possibly mobilize a lot of people to say, you know what? Okay, we got a midterms next week. I'm sorry, next year, not next week. You know what? We're gonna try to either flip this state or turn it purple and get a lot of these Republicans out because of what they're doing. See, the Republican Party, this is why a lot of people don't want to give y'all chances. This is why black Americans in particular don't want to vote for your party. Because when you get in power, you do exactly what a lot of black Americans said you would do. You don't know how to be equal and fair. You want to hold on to power so bad. And you trying to hold on to power gonna make you lose it even quicker than anything else. Okay, so Greg Abbott says, well, because Gavin Newsom said, well, if Texas passed them maps, we're going to do our own map and we're going to get 5 seats. And then your boy Greg Abbott says, well, if he do that, we'll just call another special session and we'll get 5 more seats. So my thing is this. This I told you that states' rights, a governor can do this, a governor can do that, instead of having just everything on the federal system. That's why when they tell you your president really can't do everything for you, it's true. Because the way our country work is that's like the African continent. Every country in the African continent has a president and their own government and all the different things they have in their country, right? Well, in the United States, it's literally the same way. We just they're not called countries here. They're called states. And because the governor's like the president, they have their own military, the National Guard, the Air National Guard, and all the other things that they have, right? They got their own government. They can make their own laws. They can do all kinds of things in the states. And if you do the history of states' rights was brought in to not follow federal law about doing the right thing for us as black Americans. States' rights is one of the worst things. States' rights has always been that loophole that they would use to get out of federal law from doing right by black Americans. When you go to a lot of other countries, they got one law. It's not, well, if I go over here, it's a law. If I go over there, it's a law. Well, if I drive just 5 minutes down the street, I'm getting ticketed for something, but 5 minutes on the other street, I wouldn't have got a ticket. You know what I'm saying? It is a silly system. Wouldn't it be easier to say, okay, we got one law, one, whatever Congress passed, that's what it is, all this, federal law supersedes state law. But yes, we understand that. But the states still pass their own laws, though. Now, you say we need more political parties of power for the people. Listen, the way this system is set up, I used to talk like that too, but it ain't going to happen. I'm going to tell you why it's not going to happen. One, the people. I'm going to say it. The people are lazy. They got plenty of political parties. Pick one. You don't want to have a grassroots movement to support those parties and say, hey, we're going to vote for any party except Democrat and Republican. You don't do that. You still fall in line and vote Democrat or Republican. That's all voters across America. I remember having a conversation, may she rest in power, Sister Shirley, and I was talking to her about third parties at one point in time. She was all tied in too with the Republicans, and she said, look, the money, if you're running for office, you need money. You say the money is with the Democrats and the money is with the Republicans. And she said, I'm telling you, for being in the inside of it, they both get together to stop third parties from coming along. So if you ever want to run for office for anything, you got to go run as a Democrat or a Republican to get money. That's all the donors at. That's all. And when I look more into it down the line, she's right. She's right. We don't have black people saying, hey, let's go vote for another party. Let's start our own party. Black people don't say that. Black people would rather sit it out or vote Democrat. That's really all black people do. Now, the Democrats are mad that we sat out the last election. A lot of us. But when you look at more and more stuff like this is happening here in the state of Texas, and then you look at what's happening in D.C. with Trump, and you look at the different things that's going on right now, what's going to happen in 2026 and what's going to happen in 2028? Are more and more people going to get mobilized to vote? Are more people going to say, you know what, I'm going to show them? Or are people going to sit it out? That's the question I have for y'all. Are y'all going to sit it out next election? Is that what you plan on doing? I mean, I just want to know because I'm curious. I'm very curious. You say y'all need a gung-ho independent party? Yes, you're right, Kellen. Jesse the Body Ventura, yes, he did do that. Yes. I know Ross Perot was the one that came very close back in the game. And I liked Ross Perot. I thought he'd have been a good president personally. Yeah, I really was hoping he would have got it. Because if you remember Ross Perot, he was the guy from Texas Instruments. He's a billionaire too. And he was running for president, and he really had a lot of great ideas. But the system did not like Ross Perot at all. They didn't like him. You said that, hold on, Amina says that's part of the problem, brother, for people have not been afraid to vote for Democrat. People have been afraid not to vote Democrat for far too long. The other part is mobilizing with our dollars. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I'm going to lay it at the feet of Black America right now. Black America, better known as FBAs. You literally can make a third party hot overnight if you wanted to. If you really want. Listen, we make dances hot. We make lingo hot. We make the Black Scottish people, become the most important people, and they so happy for it. Anything that we say that we are part of or we rocking behind, everybody follows. And everybody on the outside, they be mad about it. If Black Americans will say, you know what, I'm not voting for a Democrat, I'm not voting for a Republican, F both of them parties, I'm going to go vote for whatever party you want to pick. If Black Americans say we're going to pick a party, or whatever the case may be, or, start a new party. And you can start a new party if you want to, right? You can start one. Start a new party. I don't know. But if all black Americans say we rocking with this third party, we're not rocking with Democrat, we're not rocking with Republican, that will shake the whole political system in America. That would really shake the system. But y'all not really, like the old people say, you're just not mad enough yet. You'll complain, but then go back and vote Democrat. Or you may go sit it out, but you're not mad enough to really say, you know what, I'm sick of the both of them. Let us go and on a grassroots, you know, just like you say delineation, everybody's saying FBA now and all of that. Okay, can you take that same type of energy and apply it to a third party if you would like, right? You know good and well we make everything trend overnight. So white people can't do that. Hispanics can't do it. Asians can't do it. Africans can't do it. Caribbeans can't do it. We are the ones that do that. We are the people that can trend anything overnight. So the question to Black America is, if you're tired of Democrat, if you're tired of Republican, why haven't everybody got on and say let's go ahead on and just not vote for now one of them, but we're gonna vote for this party? Or let's say you pick a candidate to be in a certain party and say we're gonna vote for these candidates because these are our people right here. Then the biggest issue you have is being on the ballot too. That's the biggest issue. The only third party is really almost, I mean, they on a lot of ballots, but they're not on all the ballots. And I'm not a supporter of no parties. From what I know is the Green Party. That's the one that probably got a lot of ballot access. And they still haven't got all 50 states like they want to, right? But this is just hypothetical. So let's say if all black people made the Green Party hot, so we're going to vote for the Green Party, but the only way we're going to participate in that, you got reparations, you got to do anti-black hate crime bill, cash payments, you got to do all of that. And if black people was to get behind that and push that, they would literally destroy the Republicans and Democrats. It'll destroy it. But until we're ready to get rid of the two-party cartel, it's going to stay that way. I'm just keeping it 100. We are the only people in America that can turn the nation to a third party. Nobody else can do it. Nobody got the juice. Let's call it what it is. At one point in time, I'd probably be like, ooh, I don't want to say stuff like that. But now I say it. I don't care. I guess maybe because I'm getting older and I can care less what anybody say. We got the juice in America. We got the voice. We are the leaders of culture. You know, everybody wants our attention. And even if we fussing at them, they happy about it. Even if we going in and roasting them, that's how much they want our attention. Even some of our distant cousins, they want our attention too. Even if we arguing with them, they are still giving them attention. Everybody want our attention. Everybody want to be around us and what we got going on. They'll lie to themselves and say they don't like us or whatever, but none of these groups can stay away from us because they can easily stay away from us, our culture and everything else, and they can't. So we need to accept that we are the leaders of culture in this world. We definitely are the leaders of what happens in the black world. Let's call it what it is. Now, y'all get mad with me if you want to, but whatever we say, get out there. And then some of you are mad when we say that. Y'all not the leaders. Okay, cool. Well, you say something. Let's see how many people listen to you then. And then some of them get mad about that because when they talk, nobody cares until we speak on it and throw eyes that way. And then some of them resent that. You would think some would be glad, say, oh man, I'm glad the brothers and sisters did that from America. No, some resent that. That's what some of that argument is too with certain individuals in the diaspora, is that they don't like that we got the juice. They just don't like it. But this is the issue. And why we got the juice. We suffered for it. We wasn't just born in this country. We suffered and still suffer. And people seen our fight. They've seen the righteous things we've done. And we still towing the line, and people listen to what we got to say. Why you think even white people are saying, black people, why aren't you out here? Because they know that, look all the big protests. Look all the big protests. They spent all this money protesting. We wasn't nowhere around it, right? And they protest come and go. Nobody paid attention to it. They just see them on TV and say, oh, okay. All the white people protesting, huh? And that's it. They know until we get out there, that's the only time somebody going to care about it. When it was the Latinos. What did they, black people, why don't you out here with us? Why? It's way more y'all in this country than us. Why do they want us out there? Because when we go somewhere, the cameras follow. Everybody say, black people are there. Let's find out what they fighting for. Other groups know this. So when it comes to third parties or ending things like gerrymandering, if we don't do it, it's not going to get done. Now, we don't have to fix anything for this country. I'm with you on a lot of that. But sometimes with the Republicans, they got to learn too that don't test us either, because we'll get you out of there too. Because the way the Republicans, especially, let me tell you another Republican I don't like in this state, Dan Patrick. I don't like him. I don't like that guy. I mean, just his overall look is stupid, but it's just some of the things that he say. He was trying to pass a bill to get rid of, and I don't smoke nothing. I don't do edibles or gummies or none of that. I don't, okay? But for the people who do, why are you want to put a bill out to try to take that away from people? That's not harming nobody. There's more accidents, vehicle accidents with alcohol. If somebody want to smoke them something, a vape with some Delta 9 in it, if somebody want them a gummy or whatever edible, and they're grown adults, they're not hurting anybody. Leave people the hell alone. That's how way I feel about it. Look, they body their choice. Let them do what they want to do. They're not taking my money for it. Now, how I feel about that personally, if a person want to smoke whatever, I think there should be rules against it. Like, for instance, not in public spaces, or you can get I'm a firm believer of $1,000 fine. I believe you smoking it in public spaces, like streets, any kind of city streets, parks, anything that's considered the public. Now, if you're at your house, do what you want to do. But anywhere in the public, no. If it's a private business and they allow you to do it in that private business, that's fine. But outside that private business, you cannot do it, or you're going to get hit with $1,000 fine. That's how I feel about it. I don't think you should be telling grown adults what they can and cannot do or whatever, but alcohol is legal, and alcohol has caused more people to take their life and many other people's lives on the road. That's silly to me. That's so silly. Yeah, you say listen, I don't look, the only thing that I have is some melatonin. That's it. Outside of melatonin, I don't do nothing else, brothers and sisters. Nothing else. I'm not one to be drinking like that. You know, I thank God I never got the taste of any of that. Whether it's cigarettes, vapes, THC, whatever. But people are getting tired of what these people are doing. And the last time they had, I think it was Beto O'Rourke ran, it was kind of close. Last time. So, are something going to change this time? We don't know here in Texas. But a lot of people from California moved here. So if they keep moving here, eventually the state going to change. That I do know. Because people from California is not going to be voting for Republican too long. I know California people. They like, they may like some things in Texas, but they kind of like the Democrat way. They just like it. I'm just studying. Man, you know what, y'all? Let me get to another topic real quick about content creation. Let me talk about that here for a minute. Being a content creator is probably, is y'all may see, y'all just on a microphone. it is not easy to do this. I'll be very honest with you. I think when the platforms do their ups and downs is when it probably gets on your nerves the most, because these platforms, it's not like you have one set. Like, for instance, let me tell you something. So you see how many subscribers we have on the platform, right? I think what's the most frustrating thing is when I look and I know good and well all the people who subscribe to our platform didn't get a notification of let's say our videos or us live, right? Ain't no way, because I can just tell you it's no way to happen. And I think that's probably one of the most frustrating things. That's why we created our own app, and that's why I always tell y'all that join our app. At least on our app, that's our stuff, right? That's ours. And my main thing is I want to make sure we move everything that's to our own subscription, our own app, because that's more important. We always talk about ownership. Ownership is key. I tell any content creator, create your own, if it's a website, app, create something outside of these platforms. Because listen, you talking about digital racism is real, because you can literally see how with these algorithms, they can allow your videos to go out and they can turn them back. Not because your videos wasn't good, but because what they feel like doing. So at least on our app, we don't have to worry about any of that. We don't have to worry about it. How many times do people have said, man, I wasn't getting your videos and I wouldn't check, I was unsubscribed. And like, how did that happen? You didn't unsubscribe yourself. Or, man, you know what? I ain't seen your videos in 2 weeks. I had a brother tell me that, like in the gym. He said, brother, it's like, you still making videos? Like, yeah, why you say that? And he said, man, I ain't seen your videos in 2 weeks. And then I said, well, man, pull up your YouTube. So he pulled up his YouTube. He still was subscribed, but he said he didn't. And well, his aspect was, I tell him, no, brother, you got to hit the subscriptions button right here. He said, oh, now I see all your stuff. So when you log into your YouTube app, make sure you hit subscriptions. Then you will see everything. If you're depending on that home page on YouTube, you're not going to see everything. You may see something here and there, but hit the subscriptions page. Another thing I need y'all to do, all of you to do, click the notification bell. Because if you don't click notification, you may not get it either, okay? Because I don't want you saying, man, I ain't seen your lives in about 3 weeks. Well, you stop, what happened? And then you look up and you're not hitting the subscription page or the notification, okay? So make sure you do that. Art of today is not easy. Art of today, it is not easy. It is not easy. It is extremely stressful at times, and a lot of times it's fun. Don't get me wrong. It's fun, but it's not easy. It's not easy, especially as long as I've been doing it. Because I'm gonna tell you what's not easy about it. I wish I could do something where it can just stay one thing, but the problem with what we do, it changes. It could change from month to month. It definitely could change from year to year. So if I was talking about the exact same thing we talked about in 2024, none of y'all watch. I literally have to keep watching everything to keep up with what the conversation's going. That's something that keep you, it's trust me, it's not easy. Then I'm operating multiple platforms. Then other people are constantly calling me and asking me questions about content. People asking me about, deals with maybe events we're trying to plan. Then my mind got 1,000 things. Then I have my family. Then I have so many different things going on. Trust me, it is not easy. It's not easy. Trust me. And I've seen so many people come and go. I'm telling y'all, over the years, I've seen so many people come and go. I know y'all talking about the Dr. Umar thing, right? Dr. Umar is like one of the last of that bunch. You want to talk about him? I'm not getting into his situation. I'm just talking about him in particular. He's the last of that bunch because there was a bunch of them around the time that Dr. Umar came out. And he was like one of the ones that's kind of still around, right? You got Dr. Umar still around. People like myself are still around. That's been way back when, right? Way, way back when. You got people like Tariq is still around and, and Professor Black's Truth is still around. Like, people that have been around for a very long time. It's been like we've been kind of holding the trenches that long. But I'm gonna tell you why. A lot of times when you have something that can just rock with the people, they'll rock with you. And I've seen people, man, they come on these platforms, man, their channels blow up in the millions, and then they gone. I've seen some go so long, they quit. That's another thing. People quit if they don't get the numbers they feel they should get or the money, they quit. I've had people come through here like that. They thought they should get a certain amount of numbers, certain amount of money, and they quit. I'm like, when I first started doing YouTube, the first 3 years, I didn't make a dime. I just did it on the strength. I didn't even know how to get monetized on YouTube. Till a brother came to me later and said, "Hey, man, I know these people can monetize your page. It's a platform called Full Screen." I said, "What is Full Screen?" He said, "Man, they can monetize your page, but you got to give them a percentage." And I'm like, "Well, how much percentage I got to give them?" So I think I started off with a 70-30 deal with them. So they got 30% of revenue. I say, "Hey, that's 70% I wasn't getting. So hey, sign me up." And then I did one contract of Full Screen, and then I did the next contract. Said, "Nah, I got to move up to 80-20." So I ended up going to 80-20 with Full Screen, and then the next contract after that, I said, "I need a 90-10." So they ended up doing a 90-10 with me. And then after that situation ended, I just got off of Full Screen and just went right into my YouTube and all that, like just monetized just with YouTube directly. And that's kind of my story. But the first couple of years, I didn't make a dime at any of this. And I was still making content in my bathroom. I wasn't getting paid a dime. I was going to work my job. Like all y'all that come in here today and y'all quickly monetize, man, that was so hard to get monetized back in the Gap. Y'all coming to gate getting monetized now. Like it's so oversaturated now. Everybody talking. Trust me. And all these people you see talking today, a lot of them not going to be here in 24 months. I promise you. Because they're going to get frustrated. You doing so good, the money's flying like this, and then just out of nowhere, the same content you've been doing, nothing's changed. You had no scandals or nothing, right? And then, give you an example. Let's say you go to your job, and you was making $5,000 a month, and then for the past 6 months, and all of a sudden, you get paid and you made $2,000 that month. Your job was the same. You didn't do nothing wrong, but that's how it works. Your money just go down and it'll stay down like that, and then it'll creep back up, right? That also frustrates people, and they quit that sort of thing. That's why I come from the old school of having multiple platforms and doing multiple things. That way, when one thing go down, the other thing keeps sustaining, right? Or you're doing books, right? Or are you doing an app? Or okay, we're gonna go next year, get back doing our events again. So start doing events. You have to do multiple things if you're gonna do that. But it's still fun though for me to do it. It's not like oh my God, I hate this crap. It's still fun. So I'm just letting y'all know. Don't think getting on these microphones are they just easy. They just talking on the microphone. No. And the bigger you get in this stuff, the more responsibility you have, the more you're scrutinized. You can't say and do what other people can say and do because of the size of your platform. Yeah. But I still have fun with it though. So that's why I'm here talking to y'all. But I will say this. In 2022, I walked away from my petrochemical job in 2022. And I never looked back. And I would say the most money I ever made in my life was the first year out of that petrochemical job. And I enjoyed it. Like right now, it's raining cats and dogs. Back then, I'd be all in it working. Now I'm just sitting here listening to the rain, talking to y'all. Man, I look at what I am very blessed, y'all. Very, very blessed, and I am not complaining. I'm not complaining, trust me. even though it can be frustrating, I'd rather talk to y'all on this live stream, on a microphone, in the comfort of my home, than be outside working for these white folk that don't appreciate nothing. That I could have got hurt or killed on the type of job I was doing, right? And they wouldn't care about me, my family, my children, or nothing. They'll just replace me, and that's the end of it. If you don't have to work for these people, don't. Yes, that's right, King Noble. Look at God. That's right. Look at God. That's right. Look at it. Yeah, Eric, it was hard, man. You know, working petrochemical is not easy. 12-hour shifts, you know, dealing with all these different groups of people at times you don't want to deal with. Heat, rain, mosquitoes, you know, chemicals, oil. It's a good living, don't get me wrong, but nah, I'm cool. I used to be on them 300-degree heater barges. When I was a tankerman back then, and man, I've had some stories. I remember when I talk to people, brothers and sisters that work at Walmart, I always treat them nice. I tell them, you know, hey, you know, I call them by name, and I try to make them laugh because I know Walmart's a hard place. I used to work at Walmart when I was about 19, 20. And I know how Walmart treat people. And it seems like they treat them worse today than they did back then. So if you do go into Walmart and it's a brother or sister, man, you know, try to make sure you treat them nice. Because they not really, you know, the one sister told me yesterday, because she had cut off her light. I said, oh, you about to go to lunch, sister? She's like, nah, I'm supposed to go to lunch for 2, but I probably won't be to 5. I was like, really? I said, why you can't get your lunch? She said, shh. It's warm. I was like, oh, I said, look, you ain't got to tell me. I used to work here a long time ago. I already know. I said, working at Walmart inspired me to do what I'm doing today. Because I was like, I would be, like they used to say, a monkey's uncle. If I'm going to be my age now working at Walmart. No. No. Yeah, the oil field, yeah, that's hard too. And but you know what? Them hard jobs made me the man I am today, and I'm glad I went through it. The long hours, working 16 hours, I think the longest time I worked was 26 hours on the barge, 26 and a half hours on the barge, right? Them days and nights, that time I was at ExxonMobil and I got rained on with an insulated coverall on, couldn't get dry in 32-degree weather, and I was freezing all night. And I didn't have no other clothes. I was stuck in them wet clothes. Them nights like that I had, them bad days like that. Oh, I appreciate where I'm at right now. So you hear me say I hate the heat? That's why. And like I said, them white folks didn't appreciate none of it I did. They didn't appreciate a thing. Nothing. You talking about the FedEx warehouse? Major, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Them hard jobs, man, make a man out you. But you know, the old people say that you need to go work a hard job to make a man out you. That's the problem with these young boys today. You go shake these young boys' hand. They listen, there's no way a man's hand is supposed to be softer than a woman. Sorry. I mean, where I come from, a man's hand supposed to be, when you shake a man's hand and you grip a man's hand, you shake his hand, supposed to be shaking a man's hand. Like, bro, like some of these dudes walk around here, you be looking at them like, you're like, bro, have you ever worked? How is your hand softer than a woman's hand? You never picked up a wrench, a hammer? You never did nothing outside? That's what be wrong with these dudes today. That's why they so sassy, because they never did nothing hard or strenuous like a man. My Lord. Ladies, don't get with no guy that got soft hands, ladies. Don't do that. Get with a man that actually got some man hand. I'm not saying your hands got to be toe up, but doggone it, a man's hand don't supposed to feel like a woman's hand. Sorry, it don't supposed to feel the same. Women's supposed to be soft and all of that. That's what women's supposed to be, not us as men. Yeah, you say them calluses tell the story. Hey, listen, you ain't got to keep a callus, but I mean, you know, you go over the years, you may can't get rid of them. Kind of like something, you know, mine not like they used to be, you know, and you go lift weights, you put on your weight gloves or whatever, so you don't really make some calluses. But still, yeah. A man's supposed to, at least in your 20s, get your hard work in. Be a man. So your parents say a man who works with his hands will never be broke. That's right. That's right. If you can't work with your hands, you can't do nothing. Yeah. I mean, shoot, at least you know how to cut some grass? Like, I mean, you go cut some grass, you can go figure something out. I'm happy right now I got a black company cutting my lawn right now. I'm happy to have them because when I got them, I was happy to see them because normally the Hispanics dominated all over the place. So I'm like, hey, I got a black company come out. It's a husband and wife come out. And so the first time I saw the sister, I was like, that's a woman cutting grass? Because look, you don't see no sisters cutting no grass. So I talked to him and said, yeah, my wife cut. You say, man, she like cutting grass. I'm like, okay, you know. So he told me what he would do for a living, and he about to transition out because he said that lawn cutting, his other partner make $1 million a year just off of the landscaping and all that. And he said so he was transitioning to get out of his corporate job to that, you know. And I said, okay. And he had his son with him cutting grass. And I said, I like to see that. I like to see put them young people to work. Teach them. Go have them boys laid up somewhere. Laid up in there with their mama. Boy, I was told a long time ago, you don't stay in here with them women. Get yourself outside. Get outside. Go learn something. Go learn something. Same thing, them young women. Them old women used to be like, you're not sitting around here. Get in here and learn how to cook something. Go and learn how to clean. That's you don't have that no more. You know, grandpa and big mama, they not here no more. And I'm glad I got to experience some of that. I feel bad for a lot of y'all in the community that never got to experience that. They wouldn't let a boy not know how to do nothing. I told y'all, ever since I made my first $20 at 8 years old, I was hooked. Why? Because my grandpa said, come on with me and go, let's go cut Mama Dear grass. I'm going to teach you how to cut the grass. And he showed me how to do it. He just sat back, all right, do that, do this. Well, I'm going to weed over here, but you do that. And he made me do it at 8 years old. He paid me, and I told the story before I asked my grandpa. I said, wait a minute, so if I work more, I get more of these? He said, oh, yeah. I said, when we going? We going tomorrow? That's all because I went straight to the arcade with my $20. And I remember I went cash that $20 in, all them quarters I had. Because back in the day, you had to go to arcade with no PS5. And I was loving it. A pocket full of quarters. That's what I wanted. And mama never gave me no $20 to go play no video game in the arcade. My friends be out there, man. I had a bag. So I'm like, man, I was ready to go. It's time to go cut Mama Dear grass. I know my grandma was gonna pay me. So shoot, I thank God. I thank God for my grandfather, man. He'd have never showed me that, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us on the stream today. Greatly appreciate it. Make sure to click the subscribe button. Make sure to click the like button. That's very important.